tomorrow, and happy today.
Happy today. Are we really happy? Are we sure we're happy?
Well, again, yeah. I mean, both of us are kind of PO'd about, like I was just telling Nick, like my dog didn't know it was, here comes my dog, say hi. Yeah, he didn't know it was, 6:30 a.m. He just like, I gotta pee.
Right, I gotta get up. My internal clock doesn't do daylight savings, man. Come on, let's go.
Exactly correct. So I was like, you know what? I am gonna do it now because I got to do this show anyway. And I was like, 30, 40 minutes early. Who cares? Like, no one's gonna. But yeah, my dog. I wasn't happy about it, but my dog was like, I gotta pee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's get into it. So I mean, let's be very clear. People saw Bitcoin doing its thing right before the holiday, and literally, where did we get? 73, 74? We got right in there.
Well, yeah, depending on what you look at, but I think, I saw a wick over 74 briefly, but
yeah, it depends on the exchange, but the average is like around 73.5 to 74.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I mean, again, to see it pull back like 6-7K, that's actually good, right? The show's called Launchpad. Let's get to our sponsors before I get into it. Let's thank Quantum Expeditions, Quantum Economics, Shield Folio, and all the sponsors. Here we go. Here they come up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But yeah, if you want to invest in mining, and like I've warned for many years, one of the biggest scams I ever fell into crypto, there was two big ones. One was the Celsius. F you, Machitsky. There you go. It's spicy. And the other is cloud mining, right? So I tell people, don't get into cloud mining. It's very dangerous, even if it's legit and they actually have ASICs and are mining. What happened to me in 2018 or 2019? 2018. Price of Bitcoin came down, and in their contract, they were a legit mining company. I think they're still in existence, but what happened is the price of Bitcoin came down so much that it cost more for the electricity than for the Bitcoin. So they're like, oh, we don't have to pay you at that point. So if the production value costs more than what it is, then we don't have to give you your slice of the cloud mining. So I was like, oh, great. So yeah, this is what I tell people, if you're going to be investing in, you want to look for, you can actually go see the mining operation. You're going to invest, and it's legit, and it's not cloud mining. I know some people think cloud mining is good. I've warned people about it for years. This is totally different, right? This is an actually mining facility. Maddie's been down in Texas. You can actually go see. You can go talk to the CEO, Doug. We have chats all the time on Spaces about it, and definitely something to look into, because again, Bitcoin is the future. And right after we finish talking about Shield Folio, we'll get right into a video that was produced by us with Dennis Porter, and we'll get into that in a second. But yes, Shield Folio. Let's get into Shield Folio. You'll see the QR code. You can save 20%. And what Shield Folio does, it protects your seed phrases from prying eyes. Unless they have the correct lighting, they can't see the words. So basically, if they open it up, they will basically see a blank page in your book, and it's something really good to have. And your seed phrase is important, right? So definitely protect it, and save yourself your stupid self, right?
Save yourself your stupid self. That's great marketing right there. Save yourself your stupid self.
Yeah, because again, people in America, like when I used to work for AT&T, and they would come in and be like, "Oh, I want to get the new iPhone." I'd be like, "Okay, let's do this. Do you know all your your Apple ID and your password so we can get everything reset up?" And they'd be like, "Sure do." And then we get to that part, and they'd be like, "Sure don't." So, and that's Android people would do that too. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you got all your Gmail stuff?" "Sure do." Then we get to that part. "No, I don't remember it." I'm like, "Okay, awesome." So yeah, this is Shield Folio is something that's perfect to keep your seed phrase because, obviously there's a lot of people that don't do that, right? People want to snap a picture, don't do that, right? Obviously, if you ever do want to take a picture, just make sure it's on the device that is not connected to the internet, right? So an old digital camera or an old phone that's just on your Wi-Fi network, not on the mobile net, and air gapped, possibly when you're not using it. Anyway, let's get into it, right? So we were talking about Quantum Expeditions and their operations. This video that Nick's going to pull up is just came out the other day, but this is what we've been talking about since day one on this show, right? Is that Bitcoin, and we ended the last show, and I think we talked about this even when I was a guest last week on the show about dimensions, and the whole point is that Bitcoin can be what you need it to be when you need it to be, right? It can be the capture credit. It can be the distribution credit. It can be cash when you need it. It could be your savings account. It could be whatever you need it to be when you need it to be. Go right ahead, Nick. Thank you so much.
If you want to decarbonize the grid, if you want to advance renewable energies, if you care about the climate, then you should care about the ability for renewable energy to be monetized. Because every kilowatt of renewable energy from a solar plant that doesn't get monetized means that that's less revenue for those renewable energy generators. And so that's less potential investment and also increased risk for those folks that are interested in financing those projects. Bitcoin mining can play a key role in helping us not only to reduce the amount of wasted energy from wind and solar, but also for us to reduce emissions.
Today, we're diving into the world of Bitcoin, as we always do, with Dennis Porter, the CEO of the Satoshi Action Fund. Dennis is driven to educate lawmakers in the US on the benefits of Bitcoin for their state, and has actually already gotten 4 bills passed since the inception of his nonprofit in 2022. In this episode, he reminds us that Bitcoin is poised to revolutionize the future of energy, inviting a potential for the renewable dominant future the world's been fighting for ever since the Al Gore documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. The transition from an oil and gas dominated grid to a renewable and nuclear dominated one will only be possible because Bitcoin miners have simply searched out the cheapest energy on the market and participated in the development of energy assets and grid infrastructure. This is essentially to support there being more cheap energy abundance, meaning more energy to mine with. It seems so simple. Could Bitcoin mining really be the missing link in solving the world's greatest energy challenges? Well, it's not quite that simple, but it is an elegant solution. We'll explore these groundbreaking possibilities and more, including how Bitcoin miners in Texas helped prevent a catastrophic energy failure during a winter storm, and why this technology might be the key to balancing our increasingly volatile climate. Stay tuned and uncover how Bitcoin is becoming more than just internet money. It's a tool for sustainability, energy efficiency, and global change. But before we do that, I want to introduce our sponsors, Stampseed, the Orange Pill app, and Swan. Our partners are businesses and people that we respect, and our products that we at Bit Intelligence personally use.
Yeah,
You're
you can cut it
watching
off.
21 Voices.
So again, we can see that this is the future, right? TEPCO, like we've been discussing, is doing this now with their solar farm. We know the UAE is doing this. We know there are multiple oil and gas companies in the US doing this, right? They're using the methane flare. We now know that dumps are doing this, right? So Bitcoin, again, it's the capture credit, it's the distribution credit, it's currency, it's a savings account. And that's what people don't understand. The dollar, right? Take your dollars in your pocket. Let's say you got a 20, a 50, 100, whatever. Throw it at your phone. Can you deposit it into your phone? No, you can't. Totally useless. Bitcoin is way more flexible in this arena, right? In the digital arena, Bitcoin is king, right? Because it can be this malleable, right? That's what makes it so beautiful, is that it is the most malleable form of money ever. So it can bend and flex to whatever it needs to be. And that's what everyone's starting to figure out. That's why it's so important. That's why it's going to reprice energy. And as energy gets costs over the next 10 years start to come down, we're going to have the biggest like revolution in technology that you've ever seen. We're starting to have it right now with Bitcoin and AI. This is just the beginning. This is just the cusp of this wave starting to form with the ETF building up. And I know that, you know, we did have a pullback to like 67. But I think election day, Bitcoin's going to prove it doesn't care who wins, right? It's going to pump election day more, right? It's going to go. And yeah, you know, obviously there's a lot of people that in the Bitcoin community that do want Trump, because the one thing I'll say about Trump that I respect, that rarely hear me say this, is he changed his mind on Bitcoin, right? There's a lot of people who won't change their mind on Bitcoin, and they are going to fail hard, right? And I've said this many times: billionaires, millionaires, middle-class people, poor people who just will fail the Bitcoin test. And he passed because he went back and he revisited his original position, which I hated, and was like, wait a second, this can be a tool for good. And anybody that can come back to the table, and Saylor's another example, right? Even though, you know, Saylor's not in everyone's good graces with the whole, self-custody statement. The same thing happened. He was anti-Bitcoin and then went back to the study table and then was like, I was wrong. And anybody, in my opinion, can say they were wrong about anything, and admit it and say, look, I was wrong about this, then you have to listen to that person, because that's the real world, right? When stuff's coming at you from 19 different angles, right? And you have to make a call, and you realize, hey, this was the wrong move. You have to change your mind. Even I had to change
Larry
my
Fink. Larry Fink comes to mind. I mean, you talk about the biggest mea culpa. Larry Culpa. Larry Fink. Yeah.
No, definitely. Agreed. There's, again, Wall Street is making it known that Bitcoin is the new asset on the block. And with all the money that's in the ETF, this is, you know, protecting a lot of companies' capital right now. And, you know, we did have the other day on, right on Halloween, the stock market, and Bitcoin was barely phased, right? I think it went from 72 to 71. So it's just over the weekend, and the people are saying, who's selling? Well, these are people that have hodled from like 2012, right? 2013. And they need some capital. The holidays are coming. And if you have 1,000 Bitcoin, you sell 100, it's, you know, it's not you're not destroying your stack. But yeah, that's where we're at.
What else you got?
So if you could pull up, Nick, the hash, the picture of the hash rate chart from my link that I sent you. So Bitcoin is getting really close to what I was saying, right? As you can see, I put in this chart. This is the setup, and you saw it literally broke through 900 after, I think it was October 21st. It got really close to 950 exahashes, and then after, you know, another day go by, it averaged out, and on the chart you can see it just broke through 900. But this is huge, right? So I said in January, I think it was January 3rd of this year, that I think Bitcoin breaks a zettahash. And when it does do this, I think we're going to start to see the Omega candle form. I mean, not the same time. It's usually about anywhere from a week to 2 weeks after these power levels are breached. But you can see this is a setup right here. It's about to go to a zettahash. I don't know if it's in a month or if it's in a few weeks. I'll probably say a month or two is my guesstimate. But this is, again, this is very bullish. Anybody that is selling that's brand new, you shouldn't be. If you've hodled obviously for many years, we get it. But this is super duper bullish. And yeah, I think the new pattern that I've been seeing over the last couple of weeks is we've been seeing Tuesday pumps. So I think we see a Tuesday pump regardless of the election, right? We're going to wake up and it's just going to start to go up. I don't know if that's the day we see it go to 80, a new all-time high, or 100, but I definitely think we're going to see a pump this Tuesday coming up for sure.
I'd be interesting to see. I'm a little concerned that this election could have the potential to being drug out the results as far as certifying the election and the votes, and the potential negative impact that could have not only on the dollar but on markets as a whole. I did a little bit of analysis. I put up an article, a brief video, kind of looking at that and what that might mean for the dollar, inflation, etc. So I really hope that this thing does get resolved by by the first week here in November, starting next week. But I'm a little cautious that I don't think anybody's going to just go, oh, okay, I accept the results blindly and be like, that's great. I think this thing gets dragged out. I think both sides are going to, say, you cheated, no, you cheated, no, you cheated. So no one's going to know. We're throwing up so much dirt. The polls are so close and everything is so fractured. I'm really, really concerned about that. So,
yeah, I mean, when I saw your tweet about this, that was, and this has happened in the past in American presidential elections. Let's not forget the 2000 presidential election, which is probably the most notorious, where it took, I don't even know how long. It was like 4 or 5 weeks for them to figure it out. But yeah, I agree with Matt. I hope we don't have this drug out for a few weeks. But at the same time, we're such in a disarray state of American politics where everything is so vitriolic and everyone's just point the finger and you're a Nazi. No, you're a Nazi. No, you're a Nazi. No, you're not. Everyone's a Nazi. Okay, that's where we are in American politics. And both of us warned about this over the summer, right? Where this is not a good place to be because exactly what Matt's saying could happen, right? Like they could both point the finger and no, you cheated, no, you cheated, and now it's going to be drug out for another, 2 to 4.
And what that does potentially, I mean, you're looking at volatility through the roof, and uncertainty sends investors into a frenzy, and the dollar can start swinging wildly as people freak out about the potential political instability and the impact on trade. A weaker dollar would definitely benefit exporters of U.S. goods as they become cheaper abroad, but potentially it could also boost exports in the short term. The problem, however, is it could also lead to higher import costs, adding inflationary pressures domestically. So you kind of got to look at that. And then just obviously the depreciation of the dollar, prolonged uncertainty would obviously lead to a temporary weakening of the dollar as investors are looking to seek stability elsewhere. And where do they turn? They're turning to safe havens like the Swiss franc, like gold, like Bitcoin. So again, that could see a bit. And I think why do you see right now? Why do you see China buying so much gold? Why do you see BlackRock buying so much Bitcoin? To me, why do you see Warren Buffett sitting on so much cash? Well, he better dump that cash. But why do you see this? So and then the other thing is treasury yields are going to take a huge hit. A month of limbo means no clear picture, right? I mean, future policies, debt management, and spending plans. If the yield drops, foreign investors are going to start losing interest in holding dollar-based assets. So that doesn't bode well. And then just overall market confidence in investment, the ongoing political uncertainty may reduce confidence in the U.S. economy, let's be honest, impacting foreign direct investment. So if investors feel uncertain about the stability of governance in the U.S., they might allocate less to U.S. stocks, bonds, and other assets. And then we haven't even talked about the pressure on the Fed. With political uncertainty, the Fed might step in and calm the waters, possibly adjusting interest rates. We'll find out what they do here, where they're supposed to have another meeting here in November. But the Fed might take a wait and pause approach, potentially delaying decisions on interest rate changes if there's no clear leader leadership direction. The bond market could see increased yields due to a risk premium, as investors would require higher returns to hold that U.S. debt. So I think there's a confidence crisis that could be brewing with a month of no confirmed precedent. Confidence in the dollar as the world's reserve currency could take a massive hit. And that kind of reputation damage isn't easy to shake. I mean, think about it. Just last week, we saw the video of Janet Yellen there at the press conference at the IMF when asked about the dollar's role as a world reserve currency, and the seal fell off. So I don't know, man. I think it's some foreshadowing there.
No, I totally agree. And if Nick, I don't know if you can find this on the fly, but I did post up an article from last week, kind of leading, good segue right into Matt was talking about how, you know, like I was saying, there's tons of capital. I think it's close to 75 to 100 billion dollars that's locked up in the ETFs. This is leading to actually people being attracted to U.S. Treasuries, right? Which is, again, what's that do? Oh, that protects the dollar. But yeah, this uncertainty in the markets, yes, it could unravel all of the good things that have been happening over the last, quarter or so. So again, yeah, it's. I hope Tuesday's quick and neat, but I don't think so. But yeah, so the show, we didn't even get a title of the show, Launchpad. Why am I saying it's the Launchpad? Because again, Bitcoin is still coiling up, right? I made a little video maybe it was like 10 days ago or so, where I let people know I don't think we're going to see these huge pullbacks because so much is locked up in the ETF, and so much the hodlers of last resort, myself and others, have not moved Bitcoin for 5, 6, 10 years, right? The purple hodl waves are growing larger and larger on the chart. So with that being said, I just lost my train of thought. The purple hodl waves, as they grow, and basically if you've ever looked at a hodl waves chart, it's a color coded chart, and the red side of the spectrum is people that have only held for 2 to 5 days, right? And then as you get to the blue side of the spectrum, you get the dark colors. Literally, that's people who never sell. So all of these people are holding onto Bitcoin. Now it's attracting people into US securities, because again, it's a good hedge, and that means it's going to balance out all of the, this shenanigans. Again, Bitcoin becomes the anchor, right? It becomes the anchor and the lighthouse in the foggy harbor. Yes. Excellent, Nick. This is exactly how a hodl waves chart. I can tell you, this is an old hodl waves chart. And this one looks like it's probably from 3 or 4 years ago, because if you looked at a new one, the purple hodl waves, they literally are pew, they're starting to come in. Yeah, that's an article from my article. Thank you. But yeah, as you could see, the one side of the spectrum is people that held for short time frames, and at the top of that picture, the purple hodl waves, when I wrote that article, were very small. And my prediction in that article, I highly recommend the article, go to article, is that those purple hodl waves are just going to start to get fatter and fatter over the next 5 to 10 years. And that's exactly what happened. Bling. Something else we can talk about, big news of the week that I think we'll get a chuckle, and I think I have sent Nick that link, is the gentleman who is claiming to be the new Fakatoshi 2.0. And if you have that link, Nick, awesome. If not, no biggie. There's that. If you want to know who it is, I still think my research is probably the best piece out there. I don't think it is the gentleman from the other day. He literally said zero anything enlightening, anything Satoshi when somebody asks him about the keys, he's like, I will move the coin soon. Yeah, we've heard that millions of times. You're going to set up a press conference like that, bro, you should literally have your seed phrase or the key or your passcode ready, right? This is the guy. Yeah, he's not Satoshi again. if you're going to set up this huge press conference, you have the keys, you're literally like, all right.
Stephen Mola is his name. Stephen
Yeah.
Mola. Yeah.
Like,
And
go ahead.
no, that's just saying his name is Stephen Mola.
Hey, that's Steve. Hey, Steve. Yeah, if you're going to do this big setup, like you should have your computer set up and you hit the enter key or you do it on your phone and you're moving the coins, right? And like here, you could see, look, confirming. And then we're waiting. And then when that million coins gets moved, everyone will shit their pants and believe that you're Satoshi. But you're not Satoshi, just like every other person who's full of crap that said this before. So why we're going to jump on you hard is because the last person, we let them have too long of a time to convince people with their
I thought that was Craig Wright in a Halloween costume at first. I was like, what the is Craig Wright trying to pull one over on us? But then like, oh no, this is legit. This guy's actually, oh my goodness. Trick or treat.
Yeah, exactly.
On Halloween. I thought we were being pranked. Something else I wanted to bring up since you're talking about the Launchpad this week, I thought was really, really big. And I think a lot of us probably saw this, but I can't express the severity of this. Is the Central Bank of Argentina launching, quote, an art exhibit showcasing active Bitcoin mining equipment. Yeah, they're actually mining Bitcoin at the Central Bank of Argentina. That photo and the video of that alone was just
I thought
like
they were doing it at the museum. The Federal Reserve is doing it at the museum as an art exhibit for the
Federal Reserve. Yeah, there it is.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I think the reason they're doing it is just somebody who knows a little bit about a lot of stuff. They're doing it at the art museum so that they could probably write off the taxes or something like that, or something. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, this is brilliant. This is Argentina showing you, this is them testing out Bitcoin, right? And they're doing it in a kitschy way, right? They're getting people to come to look at what ASIC miners are. They're just little computers, right? Obviously they're little, they're energy grubbing computers, supercomputers. But again, as we showed the very beginning video, Bitcoin mining is the holy grail to grid balancing, right? Load balancing, as it's called. And that's what people don't realize, that, or lay people or just know the term Bitcoin. They don't understand that Bitcoin is the holy grail of load balancing in the grid, on the grid. And that's huge because they were about to discuss it, but let's use a couple of examples, right? So last winter, right? I think it was either the winter of 22 or the winter of 23. Texas, had problems the year before, and the next year, the Bitcoin miners had already moved in, tons of them, right? All over the Texas region. And ERCOT basically was like, these people need this energy for heat and for other, and we need you to shut off. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. They call it the Bitcoin miners, and literally they're hitting one button and they're powered off, and then the grid stabilizes. And
see, here's the thing though, really quick though, to your point there on the Bitcoin miners, when they have to power off like that, this is why I think companies like Quantum Expeditions are uniquely positioned, because when you start incorporating that flaring and tapping that stranded energy from mining, then you're able to maintain your uptime, right? So if you do have to power off and help support the grid, guess what? Your miners are still hashing because you have other avenues of energy coming in that you can incorporate. So I think that that's really, again, how Bitcoin can help the energy grid and also help the planet by using stranded energy and tapping into renewables.
Oh yeah, exactly. And again, as we were talking earlier, right, TEPCO is now starting to figure this out. It's only a few more quarters before Tokyo Electric Power Company starts to be like, oh, we love Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin is good. It's coming. You watch.
Well, the thing also, I mean, Bitcoin miners in particular, and whether it's Quantum or Riot or Hut or Mara, Bitcoin miners look, and Bitcoin in particular, looks for the cheapest power available. No matter where it is in the world, it will find the cheapest power available and it will gobble it up. Thank you.
Exactly. And that's what makes it such a powerful asset. And that's how it's, again, this is how it's slowly going to bring down the cost of energy. And as it does this, that means so many possibilities, right? As the price of energy comes down, that means, guess what? The price of production of Bitcoin comes down, right? So let's just start on that point. Then, if you're somebody that is a high intensive energy company, or let's data centers in general, they don't cost an arm and a leg to run, right? People that want to start a manufacturing a facility, right? Build a facility. Well, in 2024, your electric overhead, every quarter is possibly 50 to 100K. Well, in 10 years, that overhead might be 10K. It might be 5K, right? So again, we're about to see the economic boom of a lifetime. And again, I'm sticking to my Swift boom theory. If Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get married and have a baby, it's like literally the whole planet's gonna start having babies. But yes, again, TEPCO and Germany, again, all of these countries that went heavy into renewables, they're having major distribution problems, right? And Bitcoin solves this problem like instantly. When all that energy is being generated and it's nobody needs it, they're literally hemorrhaging money. So they go and they now turn off to helping power people to now mining. It's like reverse equation.
It is a reverse equation. That's a good way to put it. Hey, speaking of a reverse equation, I want to get your hot. Maybe I don't want to get your hot, spicy take on this one. Oh dear Lord, I might be asking for trouble on this one. But another big story that came across the wires, I think a lot of folks in the community saw, got some headlines, was over in Cardano land. Charles is now pivoting Cardano, it looks like, to a layer 2 possible application for Bitcoin. Give me your take on Cardano and what that could mean, Gerald.
Again, this is just Charles pulling shit out of a hat. Like literally, I think he just gets all the people in the room, like, right ideas on a hat, and we're just going to pull it out. Okay, Charles taking pictures of him doing barbecue. Okay, that's this week. So this week is reaching the hat. Oh, Cardano.
So you don't think there's any use to it? You don't think there's any merit to what they're doing there in the Cardano community, and it's vaporware? Am I summing you up?
I don't think it's vaporware. I just think it's useless, right? Again, it's Haskell. Okay. Not many people program in Haskell. I still have a wallet to this day that has some Cardano in it that I haven't been able to claim my Cardano staking for over a year, 6 months.
Okay. All right.
So
again, well, we'll pray for you. We'll pray for you.
It's not that much, so I'm not upset because.
Oh, okay.
But every time I hit the button, they say claim your Cardano.
So, but in a real life application, do you think that this has any merit, or is it just a grandstanding effort to keep liquidity in the ecosystem?
Exactly what he's doing. Totally.
Okay.
You nailed it like 1,000% right on the head. He's literally ideas out to keep the main players involved in Cardano still, right? He hooked it up to Doom and like they all drooled. Like that was a big thing. Like, who cares? Like,
hey, I want to switch gears on you because I know we got a little bit about a limited amount of time. And you're talking about launching pad, and one of the things that's launched really big over the last month, especially, is AVAX and Off the Grid, the video game, and the AVAX token. And there's possible rumors now I'm hearing of maybe even down the road in the 2025. AVAX ETFs even for Avalanche. Your thoughts on AVAX, Avalanche, and have you even played Off the Grid yet? Because that game looks so fun.
I have not played Off the Grid. I have, so if you don't know who Crypto Stash is, he's like my head lead. Like when I'm looking at gaming, he's the like knows the most about gaming. He's been talking about Off the Grid for almost 2 months now. And I've watched him play it. I've watched a video on him talking about the ecosystem and everything. It looks amazing. And I do love first person shooter. And yes, AVAX ETF, it is going to happen. I would probably venture in the Swiss marketplace first, possibly US, but I would venture in the Swiss markets first. But yeah, I definitely think that's going to happen. It is the first like real blockchain crypto game that doesn't, in my opinion, suck. And it literally looks like it's going to be, I don't think the tipping point into crypto, but
Right.
definitely draw a lot of people into the space because they made it super duper easy. And
and the great thing what this does is it really takes that marketplace where you as the gamer get to actually own those digital assets, those skins and whatnot. And so you can take those and you can sell those. And I think this is really, I think you're right. This could be the potential tipping point of a game that brings more people in to the mainstream awareness and adoption of a decentralized ecosystem. And what AVAX does as far as gaming. I saw a report from Microsoft just this week. The head of Xbox Gaming was on Bloomberg talking again about this same idea and mentioning how they were looking at some of these aspects from Off the Grid, from that whole decentralized ecosystem in a sense, and how they can now take those applications and implement them inside of Microsoft. So I think in 2025, Microsoft is really going to kind of explore and explode in this arena as well, because they see this is the future of gaming.
Yeah, again, that's a perfect segue into the other big story of the week that a lot of people were just barely rumbling about.
What, the squirrel?
Oh, not the squirrel.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
R.I.P. Peanut. Love you. Yeah, we love all animals. But no, the big story is that Microsoft's considering buying Bitcoin. Right? Like, what?
Well, that shouldn't be any surprise.
Yeah, but again, like I said, it was perfect segue where you're saying, Microsoft's looking into getting Xbox into. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
All animals deserve to live.
Well, here's something to consider though when you're talking about the Microsoft deal, right? They're putting it up to the board to vote. I think early voting has already happened, but the main vote happens on December 10th. And here's something: all the shareholders get to vote. Now let's look at this thing. When you do a little deeper dive, one of the largest shareholders is BlackRock. Oh, do you think Larry and the boys are going to vote no on Microsoft? No, they own the biggest Bitcoin ETF, for crying out loud. So I think that you're going to see Uncle Larry kind of like giving a nod and a wink to other shareholders. We should vote for this. So it'll be interesting to see if they do. I don't see why they wouldn't. And it would take a lot of, outside pressure and stupidity for them not to. I mean, you look at what Saylor has done. Everybody is copying the MicroStrategy playbook. I forget the company off the top of my head that Mark Yusko's advising out of Japan. They're doing the same thing. I think Nick could probably pull it up, but they are now like the big company leading the Japanese stock exchange because they have implemented the same thing. They're adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. And you are seeing more and more people adopt the MicroStrategy playbook.
No, correct. 100%. We're now starting to see the corporate arena start to take from Michael Saylor's playbook. And, there's the company you just mentioned in Japan. I think there's a company in Brazil doing this now. It's only a matter of time before more and more companies do this. And now we also have nation states doing this, right? We have El Salvador. We have potentially the candidate running for Suriname. She wants to do the same thing with her country if she gets elected to do the El Salvador path. Again, we're heading into the most amazing part of Bitcoin's history, and it's just getting started, right? We're 16 years old, and Bitcoin's just getting his driver's license, and it's going to be awesome. Dude, give me 1 second. What are you eating? My dog's trying to eat something. He pulled off a shoe, and I'm trying to get it from him. No, dude, that's not food. Sorry. Cough it up. Yeah, what is that? Oh, I think he's got duct tape stuck to his tongue. Great. But yeah, how did you do that? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah, it was a piece of the shoe. All right, I got it. It was a piece of. I gave him my old shoe to chew on.
Oh, sorry, I lost internet connection there. I'm
no worries.
Traveling today, so yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. But yeah, he got a piece of. I gave him my old shoe to chew on, and he got a piece of that off, and he was trying to eat it. I'm like, no, dude, that's not food. Oh, you're so cute. This is Blue. Everyone say hi to Blue. Hello, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue. Oh, geez. So what else is going on this week? Oh yeah, so the launch pad. So again, you saw by the hash rate. We saw last week we hit 70, like
new all-time high.
Yeah, we got really close to 74. We said just depending on the exchange you were on. CZ's out and about. That's another big one. Like, so CZ's out at conferences and stuff. And yeah, I really think the next couple of weeks are going to be good. We just have to be patient. Hold your ground. Obviously,
I'm just cautiously optimistic, man. I'm not. You know, I'm a perma bull, but I'm not feeling the bullish sentiment as strong as I was maybe like 10 days ago. And maybe it's just because as we get closer and closer to what's happening on Tuesday here in the States, that might have an impact, I believe, on the markets overall. I hope I'm wrong, but man, I don't think that this thing ends peacefully, civilly, or you know, quickly. As far as election results, and the impact will be a long hangover on markets and the dollar.
I agree. I'll just give you, since I used to be heavy into politics, I'm not as much. I just told this to Nick a few days ago. Not as deep into politics, but I used to be pretty deep into politics. But one side of the fence, they both asked for money, right? Let's be very clear. When I was heavily into politics, I would, I get emails from both sides because as somebody who used to be into elections and have worked on a couple of campaigns, you have to know what's happened on both sides of the fence, right? So this year is one of the few years where one side has been asking for money way more than the other side, and that would be Team Blue. Has been asking for more money, like begging. Like literally the amount of texts I've been getting from Team Blue, it's like 1,000 to 1. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, no, I've been getting so much email sent to me as well from certain parties. Like, oh my goodness, holy cow, that's a lot of email you're sending out.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought
I just started getting like texts from the Red Party this week because it's the election week, but I haven't gotten anything from Team Red until like 10 days before the election. But Team Blue, oh my gosh, I'm getting like, please, are you voting? Did you vote? Can we drive you to vote?
I'm wondering where my information got sold. What website did I sign up on where they sold my data? Because man.
And again, I've said stop. I don't know how many times. And Team Blue keeps getting through somehow. When I do it to Team Red, they stop. Yeah, so that's another thing I never.
One thing that I think that this election could do, I hope, is that it would actually lead us as a country to embrace the idea and the concept of decentralization. I think a lot of us in this space already understand what decentralization means, but we could really go back to a country that was kind of more decentralized, giving more power back to the states, even more power back to the counties locally in those municipalities, and having a overarching federal branch that is like leaner, meaner, and trim, and kind of going back to what we saw earlier. And this is, I think, part of the what the Republican candidate was trying to get out was, again, eliminating the income tax, federal income tax, and how would that really work, and what does that look like? I think decentralization solves a lot of these problems.
Again, 100%. I mean, look at our voting system. Our voting system is decentralized. Just one like centralized authority. It's all the counties across the whole country, right? If it was like in one database, like that's horrible. And that's what a lot of people in our community understand. To have that all in one honeypot is not good, right? We all understand that can be either manipulated or messed with in some way, shape, or form. So voting has to become decentralized, at the same time done in a safe way. And Bitcoin and Litecoin can do that, right? Real layer one blockchains can give us safe, democratized voting, right? It has to be a good layer one, though. It can't be a layer two. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. But yeah, it can be done. But the way we have it set up now, we all know, if anybody's got like 5 minutes of coding experience, if you've ever done the Hello World program, right, you realize that JavaScript can be, messed with, manipulated, and all these voting systems can be messed with, right? Let's be very clear. Happened for the last, I don't know how many elections, and sometimes it's just a JavaScript error, right? It's just literally glitch in the
you put a semicolon in where it didn't belong, and now you've got a problem.
Correct. And sometimes it's not intentional. It's there's no malice, right? You go in to click Kamala and Trump gets highlighted, or you go to click Trump and Kamala gets highlighted, right? This is why JavaScript sucks, right? Especially in these scenarios. So I tell people, until we get actual blockchain voting, I agree with Elon. It should be probably paper ballots with QR codes. That's a very easy, quick solution where it makes it very secure, right? And at the same time, we can tally those votes very quickly. If every ballot has
hey, look, if I got to show ID to go into Costco, I better have to show ID to go vote. You know what I mean? Come on. It's just ridiculous.
They're all going to require us to get that new ID in it's not even like a year, right? I think
real ID 2025. Yeah, I think it's this year. Yeah.
So why shouldn't you have to show that real ID? If I have to show that to leave the country, why shouldn't I have to show it to go vote?
All right. Well, I think the one thing that was floated last week was the elimination of income tax. I think a lot of people kind of took notice of that. And, Prof. St. Ange did a really great piece unpacking it. But I was just kind of thinking that if that was eliminated, for that to succeed without causing major deficits, I mean, we could enjoy higher disposable income and a simplified tax process, but there's a lot of problems though. I think it disrupts trade, and inflation would be extremely challenging. How do you manage that, right?
Well, again, so vote for VADA 2028. I've been saying this for 6 months, a couple months now. The only thing on my agenda is I'm going to eliminate income tax, right? That's the only thing on my agenda.
So would you replace it then with tariffs like Trump's proposing?
Well, yeah, the countries that have exclusive 100% tariffs on us, then yes, we have to do that, right? You go to certain countries like Japan, and let's use who else? I want to go Europe. You can't get a John Deere tractor over there. I'm pretty sure. You can't. GM can't sell a whole bunch of vehicles in Europe, right? It's and when they do, they have to design a totally new vehicle that's just for here's this French Ford Escort. And you're like, what? And that's
La Escort.
It's total bullshit. So
La Explorer.
I wouldn't go tariff crazy like Trump, but yes, the countries that.
But the tariffs could lead to higher prices on imported goods. That would incentivize, though, some local manufacturers, right, and potentially boost certain U.S. industries.
Yeah, and again, it would also open us up to countries that whose farmers do want a John Deere tractor, right? And they would go, okay, we'll drop our tariff. And then guess what? Oh, we're selling in that market now, right? Which we never did before. The other end of that is before the elimination of income tax, we do have to set up the Bitcoin mining authority, right? I'm the first person to come up with this idea. It's based on the Tennessee Valley Authority. It's the exact same thing, except we go around every municipality in the country and we set up a team with each municipality, and then they go out into their county, state, the city jurisdiction, whatever it is, and they go find energy projects that are being built or being wasted energy dumps, right? They go to the dump and see if how high the methane levels are, if they can capture that, and they go through all the energy projects in the area, and they make sure that they eventually add Bitcoin mining into that equation. And then within 5 to 10 years, if every municipality is doing this, they have money coming in. The U.S. has money every day, Bitcoin coming into this beautiful, perfect circular economy. And then guess what? In a year or two, no more income taxes. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's down the road, and that's some big brain thinking. A lot of people are going to have a hard time trying to process and wrap, and it takes a while to digest all of that. And even at my novice level, I still I track that, but again, I'm like conceptually okay. And I think part of the problem though is that we've been put in a society where we are a welfare state, where we rely too much on centralized government, centralized systems, and we have this welfare state that so many people are dependent on, and that is a threat. Decentralization, and what you're talking about as well, is eliminating the income tax and redoing things in a whole different mindset. It's a threat to the power base, and it's a threat to the existing system, and a lot of people don't like that kind of change.
Oh yeah, agreed.
They don't want that change.
What the converse to that is, you're giving back America anywhere from 20 to 40% of its money. Where do you think that money is going to end up?
Right. No, I get the libertarian standpoint. I said, well, that will go back to smaller businesses, maybe to help create more jobs. That will maybe help more people, help to fund charities. And so, I get that. I really do. But I think that, again, there's so much vested interest in so many people who are dependent on the welfare state, who have jobs tied to a centralized government bureaucratic system that is overinflated. And that's why they say democracy is on the line. Everything is on the line. Yeah, your job is on the line, because you know that if another party comes in and they want to drastically, have a department of government, control that looks over that, right?
Yeah, again, I would say let's keep our eyes on the live experiments, right? We know that El Salvador is doing well. Obviously the whole country not everyone's using Bitcoin every day, but a lot more people have access to financial tools and services than they ever did, right? One of my tweets from that year, when El Salvador made it legal tender, within 6 months, everyone in the country had access to find those financial tools, right? Where before they had almost 60 years to give the people those financial tools, and the banks couldn't do that in 60 years. And in 6 months, now, like I said, not everyone in El Salvador is using the Chivo wallet ever on a daily basis, but within 6 months, you had access to financial tools if you wanted to use them. That's groundbreaking. That is game changing. And that's what Bitcoin does. There's still people in America that don't have bank accounts, right? Let's be very clear. This isn't just a, Africa or, a Latin America thing. There are people in America that don't have checking accounts, right? Because they don't know how to get one, or they can't get one.
Well, but nobody uses checks anymore anyways, except like that, 80-year-old woman at Albertsons.
Yeah. And again, let's go over that, because you just brought up a very, very valid point to the old people who are like, oh, why would they steal from me? Why would they take? Because you're an easy target. Just like you walking down the street, some scumball criminal sees that you have limited security because you're an elderly person. They know you have limited security because Jack squat about the internet. So that's why they come after you. So when you're at, Albertsons, or you're at Costco, or you're at Walmart, or you're at Target, and you're that 60 to 80-year-old person and you pull out your checkbook, don't do that anymore. It is the most riskiest thing to do with your life anymore, is to write a check in public. Now, if you wrote that check in private and you just filled in the amount at the end, and you can just scribble in the number and then just write a line through the line, the written word part, that's the only exception I would give. But let me just explain it. Right, you're 75, you're writing the check, you're standing in the line at Costco. Well, guess what? There's a zillennial right behind you that doesn't give a crap about anything in the universe. And he's literally sitting there looking at his phone. He opens up his camera on his iPhone. He takes a picture of your check. Now he's got your MICR number, your name, your address.
Well, he'd have to be, Gerald, he'd have to be like pretty close over that little old lady to like get all that information. And what kind of guy? I mean, that's, I don't know, gee.
You could be 10 feet away, and then it's a little teeny picture on your phone. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Do you ever see those guys zoom into stuff?
Oh yeah. Well,
so
I get what you're saying, but I think that in reality, I don't know if somebody, I mean, I haven't seen anybody doing that at the Costco that I go to, or at the Albertsons, but I get your point.
Let's just go a layer scummier than that. You've seen the guys that do it to get pictures of girls, right? Do like under their skirts, these scumballs, right? So trust me, there's just as big as scumballs stealing from old people this way. I know that people have done this, unfortunately. So just don't write checks in public. That's the note. Right?
Yeah,
right?
because you're taking up too much time, and I mean this isn't 1975. Okay, let's
Yeah, let's pick it.
At least get into the 1990s. Let's use a debit card.
Yeah, and it's a lot safer too. Again, and another tip, when you're going to be buying stuff on the internet, use a credit card over your debit card, because obviously if you go to refute it with your credit card company, it's usually not a big deal. When you go to refute a debit transaction, oh yeah, they're like, oh, we have to hire our security, our internal investigative team, and that cost us money. So we're going to charge you X amount to investigate this. This is what the banks tell you, by the way, because happened to me. Somebody stole money right out of my ATM account. And then they get your money back minus the investigative fee. Yeah.
Wow. That's nuts. Yeah. Okay.
Another reason to have Bitcoin.
Another story that came out this week that got a lot of traction was the Florida CFO adding Bitcoin to the state's pension funds as a fiduciary. He says, quote, "I think it's very important. I've got firefighters, I've got teachers, I've got state employees that we're trustees over their pension. I need to make sure that we're doing everything humanly possible to do the best job." So okay, so that's great. That's very bullish. The next place where I go with this is, okay, if we're, again, going back to a decentralized states of America, and this is kind of the idea I've been kicking around in my head the last couple of days, is instead of the United States of America, I think after this election, whatever we have, I think eventually we do move to a decentralized states of America. Still united, but we're definitely decentralized. So my point that I want to get to is this: if we see states like Florida doing this, if we see other states like Texas and the Texas Blockchain Council being very proactive, and local municipalities mining Bitcoin, my question then, Gerald, is when does the state of Hawaii say, hey, man, we're taking a page out of the Bukele playbook and we're hooking up some ASICs because they've got so much geothermal and they've got volcanoes. Yes, there's a litany of red tape right now from the environmental tree hugging side. But I think when we get down and people wake up to the hash wars and what this really means for their own wealth locally and individually, that those changes will be made. And I think that Hawaii is in a unique position to tap into that geothermal activity and hook up some ASICs.
I totally agree. So funnily enough, I want to say it was like 2019 or so, and I was talking to somebody from Hawaii, about this very topic. And this is when digital assets were still illegal in Hawaii, right? It's just, I think, 2021 where Hawaii was, the green light was turned on for Hawaii and Bitcoin. So I think it's only a matter of time because Hawaii is very smart when it comes to technology. They saw the light many moons ago. Unfortunately, the people in power did not see the benefits of Bitcoin, but like as you stated, they've got geothermal. They're very green energy intensive, so they do have a lot of solar around the island as well. That again, and this would make what's funny about the solar in Hawaii is that it's not as viable. So when you do see it, it's only in a few spots, right? Because it rains so much. And again, Bitcoin makes this possible, right? And I think it's only a matter of time that they hook up one of those volcanoes and they figure it out. Like, we're just gonna boom. We got geothermal. We hook up the ASICs, and now we've got Hawaiian Bitcoin, Hawaiian volcanic Bitcoin. But yeah, it's the hash war. The hash wars have started, right? Started El Salvador. Just recently, now we got Russia. We got
Russia as well. That was a big story, and we didn't even talk about BRICS and Russia, and they had their big meeting this past week. So there's a lot there. They're mining as well.
So I think what we're going to start to see over the next couple of months is that all the BRICS nations slowly start to backpedal. If they had a negative stance on Bitcoin mining, they're going to start to slowly reverse that opinion, just like China's about to do. And we're going to see all these countries come out for Bitcoin mining because it is pro environment, right? Because again, it makes solar viable. It makes wind viable. It makes all of these, yes, RIP Peanut, we love you. But it makes all of these wasted energies, right, that in the past were just literally either flared off like methane flare, or they're just put in a pile somewhere. Bitcoin will use all of this wasted sources, right? And it will make the grid that much more stable. We need to start talking about, like a couple of episodes ago, the Bitcoin mining community has to start learning that you have to generate your own power, right? You have to become power generators, because eventually that is going to bring the cost of energy down even more and make it even better for that Bitcoin mining company if they start to figure out that they can, if we generate some of our power, that brings our costs down. And then
Bitcoin miners are going to be power companies, and power companies are going to be Bitcoin miners. I think it's inevitable. It's kind of like the Venn diagram. They overlap. You put your chocolate in my peanut butter. No, you put your peanut butter on my chocolate. Whatever. They taste great together. Let's go.
Let's go. Exactly.
I think the bigger question that I've had with some folks online, and one guy in particular, was, at what point do we see the United States government come in and start nationalizing Bitcoin mining, because it becomes that important? And we've said for a long time on this show that it's an issue of national security. But at what point does, let's say, maybe Bitcoin mining companies, even small ones, maybe like Quantum, do they get a knock on the door from the government? Hey, we want your hash power. Or, do some of these companies, do they get acquired? We don't even know, because we're in uncharted waters, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's, we're heading towards that, crossing that Rubicon very soon, because again, you can see that more and more jurisdictions are starting to get it, and it's crucial to grid stabilization, right? If you're a state that uses a lot of energy, and just like, we'll go back to Texas again, the same thing can happen in the summertime. Not only can it happen when everyone needs to turn on their heat, well, guess what? I've been warning, the AC is a bigger threat to the grid than Bitcoin ever will be. And I've been proven time and time again correct on that point, right? So the same example, it's 110, everyone needs to turn on their AC. Well, guess what? ERCOT calls up the miners, they shut down, grid stabilized, right? So again, this is, it's literally, we're talking in the near future, where the Fed starts to realize it. And that's why I'm running, I'm running for president, to bring up these topics. They're very important topics. If you saw the video, I've shared it a few times over the last 2 weeks, of the head of Marathon saying exactly what I've been saying since 2018, and what Maddie,
Fred Thiel,
we've both been saying. This is a national security issue. The more time you waste dilly-dallying about, oh, blah, 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 regulation, and not getting involved, is time that there's countries getting way ahead of us, and the countries that will be in the top of the G20. And I said El Salvador will be in the G20 by 2028. And again, every year I dial it back. Last year I was like, oh,
I think Bitcoin hits 100K. El Salvador is able to fully pay off the IMF and be done. This is actually, I think Tim Draper was commenting on this just a couple days ago. If you want to pull up Draper's comments, but I think he was the one that kind of was almost extolling this as well. So yeah, they're going to be like giving the middle finger to the IMF. We're done. See ya. Peace out.
See ya. I don't need you. Don't let the door hit you where the Lord split you. And again, this is just proving everything that we're saying, right? That a Bitcoin economy starts to fix all these issues, and let you focus on other things, right? Since you don't have to worry about your treasury, Bukele can focus on crime, right? They just went out the other day again with 2,000 soldiers and a couple hundred cops, because they found out there was another cadre of gang members hiding out in this part of the capital city, and they locked it down. Bye.
And have you seen the photos of the prisons in El Salvador? Man, those are awful. That's the incentive of not to do crime right there. Oh man, they're overcrowded, they're tight, you know what? I'm sorry. You can say I'm insensitive or whatever, but that's what prisons should be like. That's why you don't want to commit those crimes, so you don't end up in that place. Right? Yeah. So to me, that makes sense. So
I don't think they should be like the prisons in Sweden, although I don't think they should be like the prisons in Cuba. I think you should have a nice bed, but it could be a concrete floor, no TV. You want a Bible, rock on, but that's it. That's how it should be. But not. Did you ever see the ones in Sweden? Oh my gosh, it's like a dorm room. Like
they got video games in there. Yeah,
What? Yeah, if people that don't have a problem with being contained, they would commit crime to get sent there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, this is better than living on the streets.
Let me see, living on the streets, or I get the dorm room with the Xbox. But again, Bitcoin fixes this, right? Because again, cheap money has been the problem since 1971. Created all these problems. It's made a whole bunch of people very wealthy, made a whole bunch of people very successful, but it leaves a whole bunch of people in the dust. Bitcoin, it only leaves you behind if you don't get involved, right? If you start to get involved, it will start to protect you and your family's assets from day one. Yes, you're going to see it do this, but as time goes by, it's going to do this, and the dollar's going to do that, right? That's just a fact, like simple as that. But yeah, we're going to start to see more and more jurisdictions throughout Europe and the world start to understand why Bitcoin's important, and they will re-legalize it if they have made it illegal. I think the last country to be the last holdout will be North Korea. Even though they have Bitcoin, they'll still keep it illegal to the public. But it'll be legal for Kim Jong-un, but not anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough. I think we got enough.
Yeah, Douglas is coming up next. Zombie 3D.
Oh yeah, 3D with Douglas.
Dude, did you see that guy's Halloween costume? That guy has so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, Douglas has so much talent and so much skill. He could do like so many things, from computer programming and computer science to like costuming and special effects. His Halloween costume that he did, and he was posting videos and he was live streaming. And I mean, Douglas is amazing. So I would encourage you, watch him. He's coming up next on the Bitcoin Live Network. Give him a follow and watch his videos from Halloween, man, because they're really, really good.
I just found out that he was in this special effects makeup. I didn't even.
It's so good. It's like movie quality type stuff, and he makes it, and he does the videos, and he shows you how he's making it. So, yeah, shout out to Douglas and give him a follow and a watch, man.
Check out his show. It's a great show. And let's thank our sponsors. Thanks to Quantum Expeditions, Quantum Economics, Shield Folio, Maddie Satz, Nick behind the screen, our producer. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he might show some of those videos. They're just nuts, man. He does an amazing job.
Glad I did.
Oh, he's got some right there. Yeah, okay.
Again, everyone, and nice.